ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cosmoteer, where today we are taking a shallow dive into the different weapons that this game has to offer. Disclaimer, we won't go into much detail, however, I am going to record this on the 030 update, so we have overclocked weapons, and I will feature them, of course, as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Let's quickly repair the damage from last episode. And yeah, we're already lined up. We got the Gatling, the lasers, and the Railgun today to begin with. Now, the Gatling gun, I only have a single Gatling gun installed on the ship because, you know, looks better. Let's take a look at the Gatling gun. 600 rounds, 600 damage a shot. It uses a 0.25 ammo each shot. It has a range of 240 meters. It is a fairly decent ship that can do 1700 damage, but it can also do 18,000 damage a second, depending how long you can get your Gatling to charge up. Personally, not very long. If the makers of the game ever watch this, please make a corner piece for the Gatling guns. Pretty please. Because I like my ships to be a bit more smaller rather than big. And I don't want a broadside all the time either. Anyway, when overclocked, you can see it goes up to 5,000 damage to 13,000. So, in the long run, a Gatling will be worse because it will only do 13,500 damage. For shorter bursts, the burst damage will be much greater. It starts off at 1,800 damage a shot compared to the 1,714 on the normal, on the regular one. The rate of fire, is that changed? I don't think so. Well, rate of fire, yes, it is changed a bit, hasn't it? The overclocked one shoots 2.8 rounds to begin with. That's 8.6, exactly the same as the normal one. However, it goes up to 7.5 rounds a second, while the regular one goes up to 30 rounds a second. And there we see the longer it runs, the better in regular chain gun could be. Now, let's start off with a regular shot. Alright. Are you ready? Okay. Let us, you know what? Let's turn the shields off for this one. And we're gonna target a reactor. Now, immediately you see how quickly this gun fires. Lost ammo. Ammo used up. Cancel weapon targeting. Now, while the gun reloads, let's take a look at the damage. You can see multiple blocks have been breached, almost until into the reactor. A very good shot. Let's prepare to overclock the gun. And we're reloaded. We're ready for action. Gatling. Target the other reactor now. Now, the rate of fire will be different. Let's take a look. 4 shots. Did you see that? Let's watch again. 3, 4. And then it stops. It fires bursts of only 4 rounds before it stops shooting. However, and there we have it, folks, the ammo was not used up, and we devastated that system. Let's try that again. Target not quite destroyed, but we pierce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, 6 armor blocks, or 3 longer ones, depending how you calculate. And a crew quarters got blown up, so some utility got blown up, and in fact, I wonder... Yeah, that's what I thought. For short bursts, for small Gatlings, like this one, overclock it. If you go with longer Gatlings, I think not overclocking might in the long run be better. Now let's quickly repair the targets, because this thing did a lot of damage, as you can see. Now, let's bring in the next targets, the next ship. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one weapon we did not cover last time, the mining laser. Now, for the record, a mining laser is not a frontline weapon, but your mining ships can get into trouble. And my advice for mining lasers is quite simple. Yes. Yes. Just yes. Overclock the targets and... Let's do this. This makes it easier for this test. Allegiance player 2. Open fire. Ooh. Let's turn you off. Now, this mining laser is... Neither of these mining lasers are currently upgraded. However, let's overpower you. Now look at the beams themselves. They are so big all of a sudden. Okay, there goes the normal beam again. Now you can see the difference. Look at the difference. These beams are almost twice as big, but not just that. Just look at the cutting power that this beam has now, compared to the normal one. Now, the enemy ship responds by activating the shields. The shields, as you can see, get drained on a more or less the same, but the big beam is slightly... Oh, look at that. The small beam cannot defeat the shield generator. It is being supplied, and for the record, it's being supplied from behind it, just like the other one. Okay, now that the crew members are onto it, you can see that they keep the shields intact. The mining lasers are not good enough on their own to breach the shields. Now let's concentrate firepower. That is a negative. Even 2 lasers are not enough to cut into a shield. And as you can see, the heat generation is... Well, there's plenty of heat generation. Can we overwhelm the shields if I upgrade both? Nope. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah. And this is why I say never use mining lasers as main weapons. Add a disruptor. Add a disruptor to this. So you can knock out that shield, and yes, suddenly you have a very viable weapon. But if you don't, yeah, then it's not gonna work. And then you're just gonna overclock yourself to death in desperate attempts to get things done. Because the heat generation, 450 a second, is substantial. And as you can see, right now, due to that, this ship is struggling. That said and done. That is the mining laser. Now this is what we have been waiting for, right? fire when targeted. Only fire when targeted, please. Okay. We have our railguns, ladies and gentlemen. One of them is overpowered, the other one is not. Let's start with a normal shot. Over here. And let's make sure we can actually hit that block. There we go. Bang. Single hit on the shields. Very nice blue explosion. I do like that. Although, and that goes for all the weapons, game devs, if you're watching, just add a button to each gun to give like the color palette for your weapons. That would be so cool. Then you can so easily make different factions. I would really like that. The gun is firing again, and yeah. 1, 2, 3, 3 blocks penetrated. But overall, penetration on a small railgun, because this is a very small railgun, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing to write home about. Let's cease fire on you. And, you know, let's do it properly. You will target that reactor. Target like so. And... okay. Now let's overclock a railgun. See what that does. Come on. Let's make sure I can shoot. Oh, there we go. Ooh, look at that. That looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. Now, let's slow the game down. Whoa. Yeah, that was slowed down, ladies and gentlemen. This railgun fires really fast. And 4 blocks penetrated in a single shot. And a shield is down. The other one needed to bring the shield down first and then do this damage. So we had 2 shots on one of the guns. Now let's fire the second gun again for your second round. Yoink. So more than double the armor damage. Crew quarters damaged. Pretty good. Pretty good. Now, of course, let's take a look at this railgun. It does currently 10,000 damage a shot, 2,500 a second. Overclocked, it does 20,000 damage a shot. So it doubles the damage. However, there are drawbacks here. And this is the first gun that really has a drawback as far as I'm concerned. Let's just fire at will. And on this ship, because it's don't want you to blow up for this, I'm gonna say that. Now, the drawback of this gun. Did you see it? One, she is very, very hot. Like 1750 heat generation. I mean, that's 750 heat generation, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lot. And I really have to cool the gun and the ship down before being able to shoot again with this setup. So, very risky. But also, let me see if you and you, if I stop overcharging you. Okay, then I'm gonna say restock all resources. Whoa! It's a bit easier to see now, because the thrusters are not compensating as much. This gun has a recoil. That's bloody insane. The small gun, unupgraded gun, not overclocked gun to be precise, has a recoil, yes. But this one, my god. You can, if you put this on the wings of a craft and you build it a bit properly, you can use that gun to essentially instant turn your ship around. That's how big the recoil is. Look at it. And I think, in all honesty, that is a bit of a drawback. So, the accurate sniper that this was before, it still is, yes, but it's still an accurate gun. But we clearly see that we really need good thrusters on your ship to compensate for the recoil. It's not the worst, but it's the worst that I've ever seen on a ship. Look, I mean, this is small. 1, 2. This has 3, for the record, 3 mid-sections on this railgun. So, it's not that big. But it's devastating. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the railgun. Would I upgrade it? Would I overclock it? Yes. And as you can see, in a simple setup like this, hey, it works. But I am a bit worried about both heat generation, and I am worried, let's cease fire for a moment, about the recoil. Look at that. Almost an entire ship length. Almost an entire ship length. Just by shooting 2 railguns at the same time that are overclocked. With that, ladies and gentlemen, make up your own minds. Will it be useful? Yes. It does have drawbacks. See you next time in Cosmoteer.